Okay, my hat is Honduras, and I'm still wearing my Stargate Research Department t-shirt. Okay, Honduras, because when I lived in Vancouver, Canada, on the street corners, the Hondurans were the ones who kept little pieces of crack cocaine in their mouths, and that's where they kept it when the cops came by. And if you wanted to buy crack, the Hondurans were everywhere. So, if you're not a crack dealer and you're from Honduras, I'm sorry, but your country is tarnished by the idea that that's all they have to do is sell crack cocaine. Let's see, which comes to the whole point of this lecture, which is on an earlier lecture I said it'd be nice to go to some place with bliss, joy and bliss. Now I'm going to give you the problem with bliss. It's crack cocaine. The problem with bliss is it is a feeling that is stimulated in your body that you perhaps feel is worthwhile. And why do people have sex? Well, it's because it feels good. The problem with you as a being that's got a physical body is that you can be trapped by your desire for blissful feelings, especially when it comes to things like crack cocaine. And how else do you get bliss? Well, some people will meditate to get into bliss. Some people think that if they, you know, go down some spiritual journey, that's what they're going to get as their reward. I mean, the crazy Muslims that go around killing people, according to the fake news, do it because they're promised, I don't know how many hundred virgins or something when they go to wherever they go after they're blowing themselves up in a suicide bombing. But I think it's all fake. I think all that stuff is all fake news. I don't think it's real. And if you have had someone taken from you, and that you've been told that they're dead, I think they were kidnapped. And you were told they're dead. I think they were kidnapped. And perhaps the stories of David Wilcock, that so many people were taken off planet to go to the secret space program, could very well be. Could be that they were taken for other reasons, extraterrestrials, humans. It's just that if you're an immortal spirit, which I know is true, you can't be killed. So all deaths are fake. Very hard to figure it out because it's only if you've had the experience of being out of body, so you've been in a spirit form that that, you're not your body. So, are they killing these bodies? Well, the body is a man-made thing. It's made by, why did I say that? It's a man-made thing. Because this matrix is man-made. It's Masonic Illuminati. It might have been made by beings that called themselves angels or demons, but they're men. They're just men. And they created this place to put other people here and tell them that they are their human body, and that's what they are. And when they die, that's the end, and it's a horrible thing to die. Why did they do that? They're perhaps loose demons. Perhaps they get their jollies on torturing people. I think that's most likely what they are. Other options, they're definitely the boredom, perhaps, of being an immortal spirit and going into an experiment where you're going to pretend that you're going to live for 80 years and drop dead, and then trying to figure out whether that's the end or not. I don't know. It's a stupid fucked game. It's stupid and fucked. And the beings that built it, if they're still around, what do you do with these beings that create these nightmares? Do you put them into their own nightmare to experience it? No. How do you get them to stop building more of these things? I don't know. It's a good question. How do you remove people's consciousnesses so that they cannot access this kind of thing? Stuart Wilde said in a vision he saw a lot of evil beings hung like tar paper in a vision. That was what the celestial beings showed him. So maybe that's where they belong. I think what happens is that they're given the opportunity to change their ways, and they are allowed to incarnate into worlds like planet Earth, where they can mix with other people and see if they will change their ways. And that is their option that they're given once in a while. And for the other beings, not too good, because those are the ones that cause a lot of trouble. Anyways, so we're living in a man-made world. It's an unreal world. It's it is what it is. So what else did I want to say? Okay, so bliss. If you are thinking that bliss is a goal of yours, then you're falling into what the spiritual guru Tony Robbins would say, that people are motivated either by pleasure or pain. So the pain, well, everyone knows, if you're hungry, that's a bit of a pain, or you're cold, that's pain, or you're too hot, you need to get, change your environment so your body can function better. But, all the different pains that you're subject to, psychological pains, having to serve assholes as your boss or whatever, the pains, and then the pleasures of having some free time and having money to spend to go and enjoy yourself. Maybe you enjoy getting loaded on booze or drugs, or there's so many of these kind of drugs like crack cocaine that that's why they're so addictive, because people feel like it's some kind of a pleasure, the pleasure principle, but it's a trap. Now, pain, avoiding pain, I don't know. How do you stop avoiding pain? It's very difficult to become very pain tolerant. The Kung Fu master in the old TV show Kung Fu with David Carradine, when he grabbed a bowl of, it was like a metal pot of boiling oil or something, and he grabbed it with his arms in order to exit the monastery. So he accepted it was going to be very painful to be branded. But I think once he was out, I don't think he experienced too much pain once that healed up. But permanent pain, I guess that's a motivating factor. But the bliss thing, if that's what you think you're going for, it's a trap. Can you have too much bliss? Yes. Certain drugs will give you too much bliss, so much so that you wish you could just turn it off. So, and the spiritual teacher, Dr. David R. Hawkins, that I quote quite a bit, said that bliss is a certain stage of stereotypical. I don't know why I'm saying stereotypical, but spiritual development, where you go into a blissful state and you think, oh, this is why you went on the spiritual path. But he said, in the end, you have to reject it. And I'm thinking it's probably because you get sick of this feeling of bliss. It's like, it's too much. It's too much bliss, too much feeling, because it's kind of fake. It's fake. It's like someone is feeding you a certain vibration that initially you think this is wonderful, but you get tired of it. It taxes you. Believe it or not, it taxes you. Bliss becomes uncomfortable, painful. Yeah, uncomfortable. I don't know if it's the same thing as like, like sharp pains or whatever. Like you have gas pains. Everyone knows how painful that is. But this kind of bliss, drug induced, it's overwhelming and you don't want it. So, pleasure or pain principle, it's part of prison planet matrix, plan ET. It's not good for your being. No. So, you don't want to be in that kind of thing. And if Tony Robbins teaches you that's how you motivate people with pleasure or pain, then Tony Robbins is not spiritual at all. He's a asshole, which I always thought, believe it or not. Why did I always think he was an asshole? Um, why do I think Tony Robbins is an asshole? He's very egoic. He's very much about me. And sure, he'll sell you his programs and his books about awakening the giant within or whatever. Follow my way. But if everyone follows Tony Robbins' ways, then you're walking around with an incredibly egoic world. And that's what a lot of these so called spiritual teachings are, how to be huge ego. I don't think he is somebody you want to emulate. He likes to live on an island in Fiji and have a huge staff to wait on him hand and foot. So he treats himself like he's a minor god. And that is not spiritual. That is an enormous, enormous ego. So, you know, if you have a planet of multitudes of huge egos, I don't want to live there. What else do I want to tell you? So basically, that's, your crack cocaine giving you some kind of a feel good thing to escape from boredom or whatever. It's no solution. It's the road to ruin. And so you have to be able to let go of being addicted to feeling things. So in my earlier lectures, I talked about how if you're going to be a sorcerer, you have to let go of being a thinking person. Inner silence. And from this pleasure, pain, bliss lecture, you have to let go of feelings. And this was a Bob Frizzell lecture earlier too. I don't know if you can find that one where we talked about thinking and feeling. So if you're not going to be thinking and if you're not going to be feeling, then what kind of being are you going to be? You're going to be at a different kind of a plane. I suppose for a little while you're growing, you're going to want to experience thinking and feeling, unfortunately, pain, but bliss too, so that you can decide, I've had enough of that, I want something new. So maybe it is novelty, 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 and you want to get something different. I explained earlier that you should want to get out of the astral planes, which is basically, getting what you desire, because it's all a spiritual trap. You could spend hundreds of lifetimes trapped in desire. And that's, basically the trick that Buddha told you is, you got to let go of desires. But, people are going to experience it. And part of being human is trying all these things out until you get to the point where you want something else. So what is a being that is beyond thinking and beyond feeling bliss? Wise. I'm Harry Weaver for Infinite Bob 99, and on Instagram we're Burrows Bobby.